Okay, hello everyone. So I'm going to be making this video just so that I can show how to use my sign generator and also to point out any ways you can break it and how to avoid them. So I'm starting off with a sign that is made from my reference, and this is a whole sign. I've controlled the gap between the letters. I've also controlled the font size, what font we're using, and what we've written. So there'll be default values for all the numbers, but you have to choose a font and choose what to write before it generates. I've also chosen to have it lean. That is an option I'm going to keep on for now, and you will see why. So right now I'm using a Ming Dynasty font, so I've just found this font on the internet to keep with my reference. Now this is a good example of how to break my sign. So the font choice can cause issues. So right now the letters D, M and U in this font haven't caused any issues, but I found earlier if I write sign, the N causes issues with a boolean. Now there will be just a handful of fonts that will cause this to happen. If I change back to what I have been using, which is my like English Japanese style font, I haven't found any issues with this one particularly. So if we change it back to saying DMU, we can go and cycle through the different style options. So we have what we've already seen. So the font size, tracking X, so that's the gap between the letters this way, and tracking Y, so that's the gap between the letters that way. Now we've got random transform, so that's for different styles, which you'll see in a second. And then we've got style, so whole is default, but if we change to square, this is a way to break this line. So this is why we have the tracking on X. So if I bring that up just so that they have enough space, you'll see that they generate fine. And if we control the size of the font, so if we want to bring that down, this is where you might also start seeing issues. So you need to pick a value. There you go. Yeah, that's looking nice. Okay, so then we've got the lean option. So I'll turn that off for now. So that's going to bring these up straight, and that is more for when we choose some of the other options. So if I change to, if I make this now taller, so the bounding box of the letters is now taller than it is wide, we will now get a different generation. So you'll notice that same letters, same frames, they've just been organized on top of each other. And then you've also got the sides here, which we should probably actually bring them a bit further apart, just so that, there you go, you can start seeing these nice little holds. And if we bring that gap up to a crazy silly amount, we will have these rebar, whatever you want to call it, these metal poles, they'll infinitely extend as well. Now this is one of the options where you don't want to have lean on, because the lean moves all the letters as a whole. So if we apply lean now, you'll get that. You'll be able to see the structure of the sign support as well. Okay, so let's change to circular. So circular and adaptive are both styles that use different parts of the trim sheet. If you've been keeping an eye on the UVs over here, you could probably see them correcting. And let's change it. I want it to be wider than it is tall. Now we've got a different generation. See, again, you got a little bit of breaking going on here, so this is one of the instances where we're going to have to increase, we're going to have to push this float value past the slider. And now these have got a different support type, so they've got the circular support, and then we can also increase the size of the font. There you go. We can bring that back down to 5. Right now the letters are all generally the same size, but if you use a font with like a more varied, it does fit the circle to the font. Now for a more adaptive version, we've got the adaptive style. Now adaptive style uses the shape of the input letter to make a log, and these are procedurally unwrapped. You can see them down here, and then they have their supports. Now you can see this angle is supposed to imply from if the player is looking at from like down here, it looks like they're supporting on there. And then we can turn the random transform off if we want them like along a wall or something. And let's type out something even longer. See, the longer the message becomes, of course, the longer it's going to take to generate. So I'm just keeping it short for the example video. But there you go, and it'll acknowledge the space. And you're probably saying that the letters aren't visible enough from a distance. That is because their texturing will be powered by the vertex colors when you get into Unreal. So we will use green for like a burnt pyrography texture, and then we've got red for moss, and blue is edge damage. Now you can probably see the moss now. You can see it nice from the back. So we have our moss parameters here. I would suggest while you're generating different signs, keep this value off just so it doesn't need to cook. But we've got it on for now. Now we can control the yaw and pitch. If I bring the sign down to a 1 letter, it might work even faster. Oh, yeah, that's another point. It acknowledges if you just use 1 letter, because now it's going to be taller than it is wide. So let's put 2 letters. There you go. And we can control the yaw. I'm not sure if we'll be able to see it happen in real time, because it'll take a second, but there you go. So you can see this value. But let's say I don't like this remove piece here, so that's the secondary noise. We just need to move that along. But generally the mask for the moss is now on the front edge, probably looking down at like this angle. We can change the pitch as well, so that's bringing it more looking at this angle now. So you see the back doesn't have any. We can take the pitch even further, and there you go. Now it's more up here. Take it even further. Now it's back here. Yeah. This is probably a good default value. Moss will be building up naturally on the upper surfaces and exposed to the sunlight. It's also building up on the support as well, and we can apply a slight moss displacement if we want, but you can see that it can break it. I wouldn't suggest putting a value too high. So right now 0.01, it's a pretty good value. This will become moss using the red vertex channel when we set up the material. Yeah, that's pretty nice. I'll put it down to 0 there. We've also got a moss threshold, so bringing this down will actually increase the amount of coverage, and then we've got a soft blend, so we can control how contrasted the moss is. So we've got quite a lot of control here. So if I just turn that off, we'll look at it from our clean node. We'll just remove the vertex colors just so we can look at it like this. I would like to show you the whole sign again. So notice procedurally unwrapped. Now there are some constraints when it comes to the procedural unwrap. So one, if the sign becomes thicker here, notice how we are now seeing the whole trim sheet. There's a trim sheet, and if I bring this value down, you wouldn't expect to have that. That's not a very realistic sign. Let's really bring that down, maybe -1. Oh, that's interesting. Haven't done that before, but that is pretty cool. That's just a little coincidence. 1.8. Let's see. Yeah, okay. So you'll start getting parts like this where it bleeds over into the rest of the trim, which is not what we want. But if you do want a sign that looks like this, you just need to bring the font size down, and there you go. Start seeing some issues, but there you go. So we've got the sign that we want. It's just going to be a little bit smaller in the scene, and with texel density, it just there might be some things you can't do with this. Now, is there anything else? Yes, let's make this tool DMU, and then let's give that no lean, because the lean looks silly, and let's make the gap a lot bigger. Okay, maybe not that big. There you go. So we have a support type. So we have simple, we have complex, so they're all unwrapped. So this is the same light wood here, this is metal, you got your dark wood. Then if we take it into standalone, so this is a standalone sign, it uses the bounding box of the letters to make 4 simple wooden beams, and I can change this and see it automatically updates back to our single sign. So these support types work when it acknowledges that it is taller than it is wide. Yeah. And if we come to complex, we can that value might have been broken. There you go. So we can there you go. That's how you break this one, is if you take it too far, you can see it working down here. As soon as it passes 2 meters on our texel density, that's when it decides that it's too much. But yeah, now we can change it to adaptive. We've got our logs. Make the sign longer, make it standalone. See what the circle looks like. Yeah, see that can work. It would just need a little bit more detail to make it look nice. These ones look pretty nice. I've also noticed as well, if you do have the whole sign and put it on lean, that can make sense. Yeah, I think that's the most of it. Of course, showing off that it works with different fonts is very cool. This needs more of a gap. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Different fonts have different gaps between letters. So this is a font that I've made, which apparently needs a bigger gap here. There you go. And we can change it to look at this. So see down here, that's become a little bit of an issue. So let's change the font size. Font size sometimes fixes these issues. Change it to be with this on. So now we've got our vertex colors, which will give nice variation. But yeah, thank you for watching.